The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
And good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
And I'm Shannon Penrod.
Good morning, friend.
Thrilled to be here with you
good
on
to
this
see you.
big week. Just a couple of days from now, you're getting a big award.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we're
Denim, Diamonds and Stars.
We're
so
all
Dr.
excited
Grant
about
Boucher.
it. Yes, excited to be there to see both of you get those big awards, and Aaron Murphy. Getting the other award. We're really thrilled about that.
Right. It'll be a fun night.
It will be a fun night. You know, I noticed in last week's show we didn't have as much interaction, and part of it was because we forgot to tell them all the different ways that they could interact. So I want to take just a second, and Trayvon, I hope you're ready to show them some of the different ways that they can interact, because we do love it when you guys are interactive with us. We love to hear from you. Remember that our website is autism-live.com, but Trayvon's going to show you a bunch of other ways that you can connect with us. You can connect on the website. There's a chat button at the bottom. You just click chat.
Very cool.
Or you can be talking with us on Facebook or on YouTube, and we're finding new places. Well, I'm not, but Trayvon is finding new places for people to watch the podcast, either live or recorded. So we love to interact with you. So Trayvon's going to show you that.
Okay, great.
While we're doing that, we can go ahead and let you guys know we got a great show for you here today. We're having back a guest. I don't know if you were here the last time Melanie was here. So Melanie Gertzman is going to be joining us later on, and she's a remarkable young woman. Like, you know, sometimes, do you ever like look at people and go, oh, if I had it to do over again, like that, what you're doing sounds exciting to me. If I were young, I wished I'd had time to go and do.
Right.
So she is one of the co-founders and now the executive director of the Blue Laces Theater Company, which does interactive theater for individuals on the autism spectrum in a way that is epic.
That's fantastic.
In New York. So a really thrilling thing. So we're excited that we're going to be talking with her later. But first, we have a bunch of news.
Yeah, there's a lot of in the news stories
it's
here.
like it's April. Like there's so much autism news right now.
Right.
We didn't have a chance to cover it earlier in the week, but most of you probably know by now. We covered a story last week about the Autism Cares Act of 2019, and it was signed into law by President Trump
just a couple of days ago.
Yes, and that's, you know, we were all fairly certain that he would sign it, and he did, and that's good news. And that sets aside a whole bunch of money that can be used for research in the field of autism as it relates to health.
Right.
So that's a very exciting thing, and we're thrilled that our government could come together on this issue and do what was right.
Finally, yeah.
Right. And also, this week, something else that happened was that we are now officially at all 50 states have some form of coverage for autism. Officially, insurance coverage for autism for the first time, all 50 states, which is amazing. And then now, maybe now that there's all 50 states, maybe we can get a federal mandate, which was the thing that we wanted, I don't know how many years ago, and couldn't get, so we had to get all 50 states.
Right.
And I just want to give a big shout out to some of the major players who made sure that happened. Lori Unum and, and now I'm going to draw a blank on, it'll come to me in a minute.
Karen, is it?
Well, Karen Fessel certainly had stuff to do with that, but I can think what her daughter's name is, but I can't think
Okay.
what her name is. It'll come back to me in a minute. But some really incredible moms worked really hard to make sure that all 50 states got this. So thrilled and happy that that finally all 50 states have something.
Right.
It's not equal and even, but everybody
Right,
has
but they have
something.
something.
Okay, so, and then other in the news.
A test for autism fails major hurdle. We need to work a lot harder to develop screening tools for autism. The most widely used screening tool is what's known as the MCHAT for short, and that's the modified checklist for autism in toddlers with follow-up. Now, this is where parents answer questions.
Yeah, but it's a very, this is when you're at the pediatrician, the
Right.
pediatrician will ask you questions.
And the parent answers.
And the parent answers. But they're saying, and this, we pulled this from Newsweek, although everybody was covering it this week. They're saying that recently at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia network, they took a look at this and found that it really wasn't as effective as all of us have been led to believe that
Right.
it is, that it wasn't really accurate in predicting which children had autism, that there were false positives, and that a lot of children were missed, because then they
Right.
charted if these children later on were diagnosed with autism. So I think that that's something really important for all of us to be looking at.
Right.
You know, we both had the experience of going to the pediatrician and the first time not getting the diagnosis.
Right.
And both of our children ended up being on the autism spectrum.
I don't
So,
recall my doctor ever doing the MCHAT with me.
I don't know whether it's the MCHAT or there's another one. I remember that I was asked questions. I remember that one of the things that they asked him was to point at the light. I don't remember, so I don't know which one that is in, but we did not get a diagnosis.
Right.
And so, you know, I just was talking to a mom the other day whose child has finally gotten a diagnosis, and she was beating herself up and saying,
How
I
old
cannot
is her
believe.
child?
I want to say that this child was 8. And the
Wow.
mom was beating herself up. But the child's verbal, and the child has a lot of skills. And she just she was like, I really have blown this. And I said to her, I just want you to know that almost all of us, there's a period of time in which we were told no, and then it took us that much longer. And it's a different amount of time for
Right.
everybody. So, you know, I want to say to anybody who's out there who's come here investigating and saying, I think my child might be on the spectrum, keep after and go to a different doctor and go to a different doctor, because that's what we all found worked
Right,
eventually. But listen to your gut, first of all, but also don't beat yourself up. Like, I don't have a degree in this.
Right.
And I don't now. I certainly didn't then.
Right. It's
Right?
hard
How
for
are
us
we
to know as
supposed to know?
parents. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't put,
Yeah.
the onus isn't completely on the parent, and it's very easy to miss the signs.
It is very easy.
Or the signs are there and you're not aware of them. You know, that
Yeah.
happens just a lot.
But it's also easy to go and have the pediatrician poo-poo you. Or say, you know, in your case, you know, look at him and go, oh, I don't think it's really autism. So
Right.
we're going to, but there's definitely something going on. So we'll say PDD-NOS.
Right.
Which stands for pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified. But we always, inside autism, say pediatrician didn't diagnose.
Right.
Right? So, and no services available as a
Exactly,
result,
exactly.
right? That's what it stands for. So, you know, this just calls it more into question for me.
Yeah. They need a better way of screening, without a doubt.
Yeah. And everybody's looking, and there's been some promise. We've covered some stories in the past where, you know, they're on to some different things. And of course, what everybody hopes for at some point is that there will be a way to screen that is not subjective.
Right.
Because right now, all of the ways of screening are subjective, where somebody looks at it and goes, well, you know, they don't make great eye contact, but
Right.
does it warrant
Right.
this? And, you know, and they're lining things up, but is it really getting in the way of, it's subjective. It just is.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the story that tore all of our tickets this week.
About the boy in kindergarten in Chattanooga, Tennessee, who was punished for giving his classmate a hug.
Yes. And at least something was said to the effect to the parents that that it was going to be reported with him being a sex offender, the being on the sex offender list for a boy giving a hug in kindergarten. It's like, how ridiculous can we get, people? You know, I don't understand that in the least. Can I just say, and I don't know, it's all upside down and everybody's been reporting on it.
Right,
As far as
and the school is now saying that they didn't punish the child or treat it as a discipline issue.
and everybody has agreed that the teacher has not filed a report saying that the person is, so I don't know if it was just something that was said in a moment of this is what could happen, and, you know, was it interpreted wrong? But, you know, all this hullabaloo, no matter what was said and what, all this hullabaloo because a kindergartner hugged a child. Now, is it possible that there are children in kindergarten who don't want to be hugged? Yes. And I don't think that any child should be forced to be hugged if they don't want to. But this stuff happens because we're not properly training people. If we took the time to give all teachers training in how to deal with behavior, let's not even call it dealing with autism. If we allowed them to learn how to deal with behavior that's happening that you don't want to see in the classroom, we would get so much more done. I feel so bad for this little boy.
Yeah, because they've switched classrooms, teachers, and they have enrolled them in special education services, which is a good thing.
Yeah. You know, I had the opportunity the other day to be with a lovely young man who's on the spectrum, 11 years old. And at a certain point, you know, I'm always, when I'm with a person who's on the autism spectrum, I'm always trying to find the doorway in.
Right.
Like, I want to connect with them. And this wonderful, sweet young man, at a certain point, we connected. We like found something to connect on, and it was like, woohoo. And he took his little hands and he put them on my face and he gave me a kiss.
Aww.
And it was the sweetest, nicest thing, right? But then he went to kiss me again, and then he went to kiss me again over here. And that's when his parents said, you know, ixnay on that, because he's 11 and they don't, you know,
Right.
they don't want. And I thought, I understand, but I hate it when we have to be that way.
I agree.
My child was very affectionate, and I remember the teacher in a certain grade who was like, that's gotta stop. And I remember asking, why exactly does that have to stop? And she was like, because it's outside the norm. And I just kind of wanted to throw up. I was like, what society are we living in? What, you know, although I guess to a certain point, you know, he can't be 27 and
Right.
going up
You
to
have to
women and
teach
doing that,
boundaries, yeah.
because the women will be like, I didn't ask
Right,
for that,
right.
right? I don't know where the line is, but I
It's
know
a
for
hard-
sure that a 5-year-old
Hugging another child
and
is
giving them a
not
kiss
anything
is
to do with sexual harassment.
that's right. It's not anything to do with sex. And
So
that
the school
teacher,
district is looking into it, and we'll see
and
what
every
happens
news outlet in the world, including us, is looking into it. It's
Right.
been in everything everywhere. Anyway, okay, very interesting story out of New York, Rochester, New York, that there, like in California,
Right.
there are vaccine laws.
Right.
That you, at certain points, you have to have your child vaccinated.
Right,
Now,
it's mandated or they can't
Right.
go to school.
and it's changed a lot over the years, because it used to be that, you know, the whole time that I've had a child living in California, there's been a law saying you must vaccinate your child. But there were exemptions.
Right.
If you could have a medical exemption, that your doctor said, I don't think this is advisable to give this child the vaccine. There were religious exemptions. And then there were personal belief exemptions. And you could have any one of those three in the state of California, and you had to fill out a paper, and you often had to have it signed by a pediatrician. And we've gone through different machinations. And of course, here in California, there have been lots and lots of arguments about this. And the restrictions have gotten more and more. And my understanding is that at this point, the only thing that's left is a medical exemption, and that there's a bill right now. They're trying to overturn that. So
right
now
now.
we turn to New York, and there's an 11-year-old, Thorne Schwartz, who has a case in front of the New York State Supreme Court They are fighting because Thorne has been sent home from school because he has immune issues. He does have a medical person who is saying that he cannot be vaccinated.
He is autistic.
He is on the spectrum, but they always before he was allowed to come to school, but now he has been sent home and his parents have gone through the court system and they are now at the New York State Supreme Court trying to get the medical exemption to go through. The courts are saying that he did not meet the guidelines set by the Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention. I don't know why he doesn't meet the guidelines, but I know the family has said that that they've got a doctor, and so there we are. Now
There's a new court date set,
there is a new
October 3rd.
Right, October 3rd, which is in fact. We're taping this ahead of time, so we're hoping that by the time this airs that there will be a decision and we will let you guys know on Monday. So there we go. Okay, so there's our news for today, and our big guest today is Melanie Gertzman. One of the co-founders of the Blue Laces Theater Company, and she is currently the executive director of that same company. We had her on several years ago to talk about a production that they were doing, and then since that time Melanie's had a very exciting life and had some things change in her world, and now she's back at Blue Laces, so we're going to definitely check in with her about what those things were and what show they're getting ready to do.
Okay, good. We'll be
So
back.
stick with us.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. 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 Let's get wild.
Hi, welcome back to Autism Live. I'm Lisa Ackerman, Executive Director of TACA. We're gonna bake again.
All right.
It's my lovely assistant.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Lucero.
We heard so many people go, I want a decent chocolate chip cookie for my kid to eat. We've got all our dry ingredients. So I've got the flour, I've got the flaxseed meal, baking soda, baking powder, our gum, or xanthan gum.
Great.
So we're gonna get started in the mixer here. So there's our dry ingredients. I do have brown sugar. We did cut this down. And the one way to do that is my favorite, and that's maple syrup. I'm using egg for this recipe, but we could use more arrowroot and also the flaxseed meal. So I'll go ahead and throw my eggs in here, which I love doing. So, and then the last thing is a shortening and gluten-free casein-free butter replacement. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in. I've let it sit out for a while so it's nice and soft. So let's go ahead and mix this thing well. These are dairy-free, soy-free, and I really like them. Again, Enjoy Life is a great product. It's also net-free. And chocolate chips are a personal thing. I won't judge you if you use the whole bag.
I would.
I know, right? So here we go. Great recipe. It's the nice consistency. Everything's ready to go, so we can enjoy our cookies here in just about 10 minutes. We want to give it kind of like a couple inches between each cookie. You know, a lot of people are really concerned about aluminum, so what I've done is I laid down my natural brown parchment paper, and Jen's helping out putting the cookies down. So we're separating the nice baked good that's all organic from the aluminum cookie sheets. So let's go put these
Great.
in. So magic oven allows me to pull the last ones out. And voila,
Yum. Looks good.
really great cookies. I'll let you have a bite so you can do my Vanna White there too. Good. Yeah, these taste pretty good.
Really good.
We're gonna come back later after I gain 5 pounds and eat this entire tray.
For sure.
You know, more feedback is good. So if there's something you want us to convert, like another recipe or maybe a relative made, just let us know, autism-live@gmail.com. You can go to Facebook, or there's thousands of recipes on the TACA website just waiting for you to explore. You can go to TACANOW, TACANOW.org, and we'll see you next time at Autism Live.
Bye.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Hi, I'm Lisa Ackerman. Welcome back to another TACA Fact. We bring you the most common questions and share those answers that help your journey along for you and your family.
One of the most common questions we hear all the time is, why are these doctors working with kids on the autism spectrum so expensive? Well, there's a simple answer. Kids with autism take more time, and unfortunately, if you look at a regular pediatrician's practice, they may see anywhere from 30 to 60 patients every day. So you may get at most 3 to 5 minutes with those doctors. With doctors that specialize in autism, they're called MAPS doctors, the Medical Academy of Pediatric Special Needs. They spend quite more time with each family and each patient, and that could be an hour to an hour and a half for each family that is actually being spent just talking about your child, looking at labs. So why are they more expensive? Well, your pediatrician probably gets paid a lot more per hour based on the number of people they see. A MedMaps doctor is solely dedicated to what you're doing and what your child needs. So look at it this way. If you're spending time with your MedMaps doc and you're working with that doc, and you will literally on average see somewhere between 4 to 7 hours per year. And then don't forget that other fact we talked about, how to get the best possible healthcare reimbursement. So you can make sure that that time is well spent, not only getting answers, but also reimbursed by health insurance. So there, another very detailed long fact from Talk Facts.
Love is a battlefield. Autism and PTSD for parents. It's a thing. I'm here to tell you it's survivable. What you need to do is remember, this is not for the faint of heart. There's actually a study that was done on mothers of children with autism, and it said, oh, this is very similar to PTSD among soldiers. And we're like, we needed a study for that. We already knew this. However, you got to remember that stress is very important, not only because it's just stress that we're all dealing with, part of the modern day life, it can have serious effects. Not only does it affect your child, your spouse, other members of your family, it also affects your health. The stress is linked to immune system conditions, which can be creating conditions like risk for cancer, heart attack, stroke, anxiety, social isolation, which also depresses your immune system further, and even, girls, listen to this, hair loss. How do we handle this kind of chronic battlefield condition? Well, we have to do what generals do. We get the troops together, we demand support, we push for what we need. So when you go into your meeting with the schools, be sure and you have people with you, because it can be very difficult if you don't have someone with you to help you. Get letters from the doctors, get your evaluations, do what you need to do to get what you can for your child, because that ends up making your stress less. Over the years, as you deal with this kind of stress, remember, it can be your friend because it can tell you things need to change. It can also be your enemy because it can create a lot of bad conditions. The moral of the story is, don't be too strong for too long.
Welcome back, you guys.
We're here.
I'm just chatting away with our guest.
We're with Melanie Gertzman.
Yes, the fabulous Melanie Gertzman, who was with us once before, a couple of years ago. She is the co-founder of Blue Laces Theater Company and now the executive director of Blue Laces. But Melanie, I was telling them that you've led a very interesting couple of years. Tell them what you ran and did since the last time you have been here.
Oh, wow. Well, when was the last time I was on? I think we were maybe doing our first production out there.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm talking specifically about you ran off to school and got advanced letters.
Oh, yes. I went and got my master's in education from Harvard's Graduate School of Education.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that little thing. Oh, yes. I ran to Harvard and got my master's
got a degree.
Yes, that little thing. I said I'm deeply envious of her life. Wouldn't
Right.
you love to go to Harvard and get your master's degree?
Yeah.
So anyway, and now you're back at Blue Laces after having done Harvard.
And Blue Laces is an award-winning New York-based company that creates immersive, multisensory theater specifically designed for audiences with autism and other disabilities.
And it's one of the coolest things on the face of the planet. I gotta say, because, you know, I have not yet sat in the theater but I've seen video clips, and I gotta say, it's one of the coolest things on the face of the planet. You guys have expanded and you've got a lot of things going on now. So tell us some of the different things that you have going on.
Yeah, so as you said, we create theater that's specifically designed for audiences with autism and other developmental disabilities, and all of the shows we do are original, so we start from scratch with an ensemble, and we come up with an idea. Our past shows have been about outer space, transportation, laundry, and we have a new show coming up that's debuting October 18th, running through November 3rd, and it's called Muse. And it's using elements of mythology, Greek mythology, and it's a journey using, you know, that kind of storytelling. And we're hoping it's going to be geared towards a slightly older audience, which in the past our shows have been mainly for our, you know, elementary, younger ages. We're hoping this show will also be inclusive of our younger audiences we've served in the past, but also be able to serve teens and young adults as well, just due to the narrative, thematic structure of the show. So that's going to be in Long Island City and Queens, and we're really excited about this show because we're running longer than we have in the past, so we have the opportunity to serve more audiences. And then in February of 2020, we're very excited. We're being presented by Lincoln Center Education to do our show Suds, which is the show about laundry that I mentioned, and that'll be running the first week or so of February 1st through 9th, I believe. So that's a very exciting opportunity for us to be recognized by Lincoln Center in that way.
It's just amazing. Yeah. Now, I know when we had you on the show before, you talked about the whole experience and what it was like when people arrived at the theater. Is that sort of indicative of all the Blue Laces theater pieces? Is it this experience that they go on?
Yes. So when you go to a traditional show, not a Blue Laces experience, you know, when you think of going to the theater, it's, you know, you go in, you sit in your seat, you watch the actors on stage, you know, there's a very strict theater etiquette. At a Blue Laces show, we change the rules. There is no fixed seating. You're able to get up and move around and participate however you want. It's designed to be multisensory, so everything is designed so that you can touch, see, smell, interact with it however you want to engage. And then we do a model which we call adventure guides, where in addition to, you know, our actors playing characters in the show, they also serve another function where they are paired in one-on-one or one-on-two with every audience member, and we collect information ahead of time about them. We know likes, dislikes, sensitivities, triggers, things of that nature, so that the cast is very prepared for who's going to be at the show that day, and they can help tailor the production to each person's individual needs, so we can make it the best experience possible for every person attending.
Doesn't that just sound exciting, Nancy?
Yeah, it does sound exciting.
I mean, this is a thing that needs to be more of in more places because it's just so wonderful.
Right, because our kids don't necessarily get the chance they don't feel comfortable just sitting in their seats and being spectators, and this is an interactive way to involve them.
Absolutely. And you guys are award-winning. Can we talk a little bit about some of the awards that you guys, I've got a list here, the Zeta Phi, tell us, because I can't even read this.
Yes, it was an award given to us by the American Alliance for Theater Education for best outstanding new children's theater company. So we were very proud to be recognized with that by this prestigious organization that I've been attending their conferences since I was an undergrad. So it was very cool, very full circle to be on the other side of that stage, being like, oh, this is something that we built, that we were coming here, and which was once a pipe dream that started in undergrad, and now it's almost 5 years old.
Absolutely.
Most of your productions original productions?
Yes, they're all original.
They're all original.
if you might be familiar with sensory-friendly theater or autism-friendly theater, in which you take an existing production, like they do it on Broadway, where like you can go see The Lion King or Aladdin or things like that, and they'll tone down the lights and the sound, and they'll designate certain days for audiences to attend those days. Our shows are written from the start specifically with this population in mind. So every show for us is designed for audiences with sensory processing disorders and things along that nature. And neurotypical audiences attend as well, and they love it. It's kind of using the principle of universal design for learning, but applying it to theater. If you design for certain abilities and needs that don't get attended to, chances are everybody benefits.
So let's stop for a second and talk about how people can attend these performances, because I know they're going to want to. So Muse, which is opening October 18th through November 3rd, that's happening at the Secret Theater in Long Island City, New York. Where can they go for tickets?
They can go to our website, www.bluelaces.org/muse, M-U-S-E, and you can click on there to fill out our audience request form to request tickets, and then we will process your request and we will book you into a show.
Now, we should say that your audiences are on the smaller side, right? Because you have, it's so interactive. So people should get their tickets early. Your shows sell out. This is no joke.
They do sell out, yeah.
Yeah, this is no joke, you guys.
5 to 10 families per
Okay.
performance.
So if you want to go, you really should make your reservations right now to be able to do that. Now, Suds is coming up in February, but it's not too early to request your tickets for that as well, because that will sell out, and that's happening at the Lincoln Center in New York. And so where should they go to get tickets for that?
They should go to the Lincoln Center Education's website, and they'll direct you to ticketing, and Lincoln Center Education will be processing it. And there's a link at the bottom of the screen.
Okay, fabulous. And we should note that the Blue Laces Theater Company is looking for partnerships, that you're looking for places to be able to go and to present on the things that you do, or to be able to come and do a workshop. And I love this because often people will watch the show and they'll go, well, that's lovely. If I'm in New York,
Right.
that's a lovely thing, but what if I don't live in New York? So talk a little bit about, if somebody's feeling that way, what you might be able to bring to their area.
Yes, so we've presented outside of New York. We partnered with the American Repertory Theater in Boston, and we did a production of Suds there. So if you are interested in bringing Blue Laces to your town, get in touch with me, Melanie at bluelaces.org, and we can work out something to either bring an entire production, or we can do drama workshops in which we introduce multisensory storytelling into the classroom, or just discuss different ways that we could introduce elements of this type of theater into your own town, whether it's bringing us personally or having us consult for you to create something of your own. But yeah, we want to be able to branch beyond where we are in New York and to serve as many people as possible.
That's fantastic.
It is absolutely fantastic. And so I'm just wondering, because you guys have been doing this now for 5 years, is there one story that you can think of, Melanie, somebody who came to see the show that you saw something like a light go on in them, or an experience that you were like, this is exactly why we do what we do?
Yeah, it's often we will hear from parents or classroom teachers after a show, and there's one particular performance where a classroom came, and it was a classroom of all wheelchair users, and they had multiple profound disabilities, and at the end of it, the teachers were just weeping because they said that no one has ever gotten their kids like this before, or has ever understood them, and to be able to provide programming like this, and they like to see their faces and to see the kids' faces light up and engage in ways that they said that they weren't anticipating, because normally, outside of their routine, it's very difficult for them to engage or to trust anybody, but this was like a whole new world for them. So that was a really special show, and to be able to know that hear from classroom teachers who work with these kids every single day that coming to one show provided that profound impact. And then we got follow-up emails from them saying that they utilized props from the show and ideas from the show and then recreated elements of the show in their classroom and would do that over and over again because it resonated with them so much and they built it into their curriculum. So that was pretty incredible.
I just believe in the power of the arts.
Yes, to heal.
And to teach and to enlighten and to inform and to tear down barriers all the way around. And I just applaud you. I had said earlier that if I had my life to live over again and live 13 different timelines, I would want to do what you're doing. I just think it's amazing. I'm so excited for you and for this theater company and all the things that you guys are doing. So it's Blue, what is your website? It's bluelaces.org?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to encourage everybody to go check it out.
Yeah, and if you have an interest, you can bring Melanie to your town.
Yes, write to her.
And it's not just me. I mean, there's an entire team behind me. I'm the executive director, but I have amazing co-artistic directors and staff who I couldn't do this without, and like all the teaching artists and actors. So, you wouldn't just be taking me. It's the entire Blue Laces family we've cultivated. So I just want to make that clear.
Well, it's absolutely remarkable what you guys are doing. I so appreciate it, and we got to get you out to the LA area, and I got to get to New York to see one of these productions, because I know I've seen the video clips, and the video, when you do live theater and you videotape it, you lose so much, right? And for me to get as excited at the videotape, I know in person I would lose my mind.
Something else,
So, Melanie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Good luck to you.
Yes, good luck with Muse and with Suds.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back after these messages.
Did you have a good time at the show, Charlie?
Yeah.
We had a good time, didn't we?
We did.
It was a great experience for him.
I think what's unique about this kind of work, we're sort of opening it up.
The actors are kind of more personable, they're interacting, and it's kind of more free form, so the kids can kind of do a little bit more what they like.
There are no behavioral expectations. It's all about play, and it's all about making relationships.
He can move around and do his own thing. It's not like a stress for me to keep him in a seat.
It's pretty revolutionary to take that energy and to dial up or down whatever is appropriate for that individual.
It takes a lot of imagination and flexibility, and the performance you give to the audience is special and different every time.
It's the first time for Ale also in the theater, and he responded fantastic.
It was engaging, and it basically brought a lot of his emotion out.
He was participating, he was really, feeling everything.
I really liked the story, and I really liked the characters.
The museum.
The museum was a favorite part.
Do you like the music?
You feel like at home, when the guitar is playing, and it's really calming and nice.
I loved the fact that you had actual water and actual soap.
And that we got to take real clothes home.
I'm just very glad that something like this exists and that I was able to help to create it.
Are we gonna come back to another Blue Laces show?
He enjoys it more and more as he gets older, so we're very happy to come back here. We always will be, right? Yeah? Yeah.
So I need to say something else. What I need to say is goodbye.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Welcome back. You're live on Autism Live, and I've got my friend Jennifer here. I'm so excited she's here to help me. She's got a son named Dylan. I got a son named Jeff. We got all sorts of allergy issues. And a lot of you say, what the heck can we do to eat breakfast that's not full of carbs?
And getting my son to eat vegetables.
Oh, this is a vegetable. So we're gonna eat vegetables today. And so what we're making is zucchini muffin. So let's go ahead and get started. So we just dumped in our zucchinis. You can start with less. You wanna graduate your kid to actually eating healthy. We're gonna do some eggs. And again, I use the organic cage-free eggs. So there's our eggs. I'm going to add in our oil. Again, I use a high heat oil, and the reason why I use a high heat oil, because when you bake, you want to make sure you're using an oil that doesn't disintegrate, because when oil gets too hot and it's not meant to get hot, it becomes toxic. So you got to be careful with your oils. So there goes our maple syrup, and again, organic maple syrup. What we're going to add next is cinnamon and our baking soda, baking powder to our mix. There's a lot of variations on flours. A lot of our kids are allergic to wheat, so there's a lot of things we can do to make this SCD, specific carbohydrate compliant, or just gluten-free, casein-free, soy-free. And flaxseed meal. Flaxseed meal is a great resource for extra fiber within the kids' diets. We're just going to turn on this fabulous, wonderful KitchenAid, and we're good. It's a great, great looking batter. And what we're going to do is talk a little bit about baking ware. Almost everything is aluminum, and aluminum can be a problem for some kids, especially kids that can't methylate and take the toxins out with their body. But if you've got, like me, I've got muffin tins, so I have the ability to just simply put in some cupcake holders, and that actually holds that together if I want to freeze it. Hey, nice work. Those look good, but wait till you see them when they're done.
All right.
So go ahead and pull them out. Here are the fabulous muffins. Now, if you've got a sensory kid that doesn't like vegetables, I can already I Spy the zucchini. Remember what I told you earlier? Dissolve that simply by peeling off the green layer, and then it will cook literally translucent. Such a nice golden brown. I love how the texture is. We know that the breakfast can be a challenge. This makes that process a whole lot easier for you and your family. I really appreciate all the feedback. We definitely want to hear from you for our next segment. If you'd like us to cook something or maybe make an old favorite and that's allergy-free, we can do that here on Autism Live. So give us your feedback. You can email us at autismlive@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page like everybody, facebook.com/autismlive. And also you can reach Taka on the Taka website at Taka Now. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining us on Autism Live.
Say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Do you provide care services to someone with autism? Recently, more and more children are being diagnosed with the condition and getting the support they need as awareness grows. But what happens to these children as they grow up? It's estimated that over 500,000 youth with autism will turn 18 in the next decade, and they'll be faced with a very difficult reality. As children with autism grow up, their services start to disappear or become very difficult to access. Things like medical care, mental health counseling, vocational training, and more. All services that are still desperately needed. The loss of support that youth with autism face as they grow up is so severe that it's referred to in the autism community as falling off a cliff. Adults with autism need the same level of support they had as children to avoid falling off the services cliff. Introducing Skills Living, the web-based software designed specifically to help transitioning youth and adults with autism so they can avoid the cliff and instead fly to success. With Skills Living, help your learner with autism develop the skills they need in all the critical areas of adult life, including self-control, planning, and problem-solving, effective communication, performing life skill tasks for independent living, acquiring and maintaining employment or other meaningful activities, developing and maintaining social skills and relationships, accessing transportation and public services, and being safe. Skills Living includes a comprehensive assessment, a data collection mobile app, behavior intervention plan builder, and automatic progress reporting. It also provides a complete curriculum addressing 16 key areas spanning the entire range of functioning adulthood. Skills Living is easy to use and can be implemented by schools, parents, and autism service providers. Call or click today for your free demo and see how Skills Living can help your learner with autism avoid the cliff and instead reach their fullest potential. Skills Living. Wish, learn, become.
Soon. Welcome back.
Here we are.
Yes, here we are.
Mid-sip.
Mid-sip. We just keep talking about things. We were just talking about Sunday. I'm not sure whether Sunday we turn our clocks back. It must not be this Sunday.
I don't think it's this Sunday.
Okay.
I think
all
you
right.
would have heard
But
about it.
this Sunday is Denim and Diamonds and Stars.
Yes, which is ACT Today's, Autism
Yeah.
Care Today's major fundraiser of the year.
Yes. And this year is really special because the 3 people getting awards are 3 incredible women. Yourself.
Yes, which
much
I feel
deserved. I know, like you
I feel
and
weird
Dr.
about it.
Granpeesheh are both like, and I can imagine what that must feel like, but come on, it is so deserved.
Well, thank
so
you.
You're getting the Legacy Award, correct?
Right.
Which is very, very deserved. That's for somebody who's put in time. That award is for somebody who has, really been in the trenches.
And hopefully leaves a lasting legacy.
And leaves a lasting legacy, which you have done, madam. You helped so many families. I mean, come on. So very, very deserved, and we're so excited that we're going to be there on Sunday to support you. And then, of course, Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is getting the Visionary Award, which I think is
very well deserved.
Very
Because she is a vision.
She is a visionary. And she's a vision. She's also a vision. She's both. I asked her earlier this week if she knew what she was wearing yet, and she said no.
I don't even know what I'm wearing.
See, and I said, I don't know what I'm wearing. So apparently we're all going to show up in towels.
Right.
And then, of course, the other award, the Cowgirl Award.
Golden Cowgirl.
Golden Cowgirl, sorry.
It's for a community activist,
yes,
really.
And that's going to Erin Murphy, the fabulous we had on last week, the fabulous
Yes.
Erin Murphy.
She's an autism mom.
Yeah.
And she also played Tabitha on Bewitched, for those of you that are TV.
And has been very involved in the community, and has especially been involved with Autism Care Today and helping to support,
all of our events.
She's been a stalwart. She's always been there supporting, which is really remarkable. So all 3 really well deserved. I'm looking forward to that. Autism Live will be there on the red carpet, which I want to say that it's right about 5, right around 5 o'clock that we will start our live feed. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
It's always that thing of, can we get the sweet spot with the internet and get everything to work. But, according to plan, we will be live on the red carpet at 5 o'clock, which is always an interesting thing. We've talked about this before, that when you watch our red carpet shows,
anything can and will happen.
And does happen, and we don't have the ability to cut away. So we've had some pretty hilarious things happen over the years. We've had people pass out. We've had people say inappropriate things and then realize that they're live on Facebook. It's a very fascinating little thing. And a lot of times we are a little bit further down the red carpet, so there's a whole lot of time that ends up being filled. So I end up saying really ridiculous things. But I'm told it's funny. People have told me that it's worth watching because it's funny just to watch me have to swim upstream waiting for, because I'll stand there and I'll be like, oh, okay, so we have Martin Sheen on the red carpet now, and he's right next to us, and everybody is supposed to on the red carpet have this 2-minute rule,
but nobody pays attention to
except for me. I am the only person who pays attention. But
you've gone longer than 2 minutes.
I have. But I am capable of only doing 2 if everybody will adhere. And I usually try to go a smaller amount, especially with the stars, because I understand what they're there for. They're there to promote the event. They're there to be with other people and to help to do that. They're there to represent. They're not there to do a full-on sit-down interview with me, right? We had Joe Mantegna on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying, this is great. This is the first time we've had Joe Mantegna, and he was like, what are you talking about? I've been on your show many times. And I was like, no, that was red carpet.
Right.
That's not, that's like Joe.
Right.
What are you supporting here tonight? Why is this important to you? And what are you wearing? Thank you. It's not, he sat here and got emotional, and he dropped the F-bomb.
Right.
And said, this is how I feel about my daughter, and when people say this, blah, blah, blah. Right? He went full Italian Godfather on us.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
And it was awesome. It was so awesome. Check that out if you haven't seen that. But it's different than the red carpet. Now, the red carpet has its own pluses and minuses because you get to see people that you wouldn't otherwise. Because I can't get everybody to come here because, they have other places to be.
Yeah, it's hard to get people to always come to the studio.
And to be able to have those snippets of conversation. And sometimes crazy things happen. The year that once on the red carpet, we had Randy Rainbow and Lou Diamond Phillips shined Randy Rainbow's shoes. So anything could happen, right? I'm just saying anything could happen. So recently we were at a red carpet event, and I'm not going to remember his name. It's not.
Give me a clue, maybe I'll do it.
It's the gentleman that had a motorcycle accident and hit his head, and so he's a little bit, he struggles a little bit to be within the confines of very famous actor.
Oh, okay. I don't
He was
really
on The
know
Apprentice.
that.
It's I'm not going to remember. Somebody
It'll
yell
come
it
to
at me.
you.
Yes, it will, but the show will be over by then. I want to say Bruce Stern, but it's not Bruce Stern.
Okay.
Who's the guy who looks like Bruce Stern?
I don't know.
All right, you guys. It's a senior moment, and you're here for it. But in any case, he kept walking in front of our camera shot. So he
Right.
would just walk in between us and then stop and have a conversation in front of our camera shot while we were interviewing somebody. And I'm told that it was pretty, and I would be like peeking over at his jacket and going, "Hi, I'm touching his jacket right now, but we're having this interview." And he was kind of oblivious to it all. And then later on in the night, when we weren't on camera, he thought I was the waitress and asked me to go get him a drink. But, these things happen at these events. So it's very interesting, and I encourage you guys to tune in and watch. But of course, if you wanted to come, there's still a couple of tickets.
There's still
not
some
very
tickets
many,
left, right.
But if you'd like to come to the event, I think it's a really worthwhile
Yes,
event.
you can go to our website, act-aday.org, and it'll take you to the page.
Absolutely. So, and we'll all be there.
Yeah.
We will all be there. Nancy will be there. I will be there. I think Traven's coming. My husband will be there. My child will be there. So if you've watched the show and you're like, I want to hang out with these people, that's where and Dr. Grant Pichet will be there. And a lot of the people that we feature on the show will be there. It's, people will be there.
It'll be a good opportunity to meet them.
It will be a very good opportunity to meet them, and a great opportunity to raise money. There's the silent auction.
Right, which we have some great items, and then the live auction.
Anything
which
you want to
things like cruises and a weekend at a estate in Malibu.
There you go.
Just some really fun things.
So what I find interesting, because obviously I think everybody knows that I don't come from a background of a lot of money, right? And although I will say that I grew up in Saratoga, New York, where I went to high school with kids, and there were some kids that, were there where being able to buy a pair of shoes was a big deal.
Right.
My family was sort of the middle class, kind of right down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But I had friends in high school who, honestly, to be able to buy a pair of shoes was a big, big deal.
Really?
Absolutely. And then I had other friends whose parents were millionaires and they lived in mansions, and we would go, because in Saratoga, New York,
there's a lot of wealth there, right?
I had friends who had polo ponies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and what was awesome for me is that, we all belonged to the same group of friends, and it felt like at the time, at least to me, that it didn't matter. I'm sure for some people different things mattered, but it felt like it didn't. So I grew up in that very eclectic way, and diverse way, and really appreciated it. But I've never been in a room before Denim and Diamonds when people were, now I've had opportunity to do this at lots of different events, but when they start auctioning off like a cruise.
Right.
And people, start lifting up their paddle and going, yeah, I'll bid $5,000 on that.
Right.
And you go, when you left the house tonight, were you thinking, yeah, I might buy a cruise for $5,000? I think there's a certain amount of fascinating to that.
Well, we're hoping we get a lot of those people.
And, usually in all the times that I've been at Denim and Diamonds, there's usually somebody in the paddle auction who will donate a ton of money.
Right.
A big amount of money. And
I've been told that's going to happen again this year.
There's something about that, you guys, that always makes me cry.
I know.
That somebody
would
comes
care enough
and says, I'm
to give $25,000
right.
just like that.
And just like that, and know that it's going to go to this really wonderful cause. I've been in the room when it happens and something electric happens. And, the room, I would say, is about 20% people that are autism community, and then the rest are people who aren't.
Yeah, really.
Right?
People that are
people
just
who care,
supporters of the cause.
who care and have friends who have kids on the spectrum.
Right.
But for the 20% of us that are part of the autism community, when that happens, there is an energy that goes, right? And then for the 80%, it's almost like they see that and they go, oh, it just got real. It just got real, because not the $25,000 thing to them, but seeing our reaction to it. I always there's a thing that happens in that moment, and I love it.
And what
It's a
touches
powerful
me
thing.
is when the paddle auction gets down to $100 of raise, and so many people raise their hands for $100 that, you know, maybe that's a stretch for them, but because it was a stretch to go to the event. But they're willing to give $100, and we get lots of $100 pledges.
Which is amazing, you guys. So when you get there, you know, there you go and you see the silent auction items, and you get to peruse all of the silent auction items, and there are lists there, and you can sign up and you can see exactly what you're bidding and who you're bidding against, and that you are no longer the high bidder, and you can keep writing your name and going up and up and up and up. And so there's those items, and those are gift baskets full of amazing things, or their experiences. I mean, it's just incredible, the things that they have, things that you wouldn't think that you could get anywhere, right? But then the very bigger ticket items that are really particular experiences, those get saved for the live auction.
Yes.
And that is a very interesting thing to go to and see. And I love visually to watch that, and to see the excitement that comes in the room. Like I said, I was raised in Saratoga, New York, and you know, of course, we're famous for the racetrack.
Right.
And when you go to the racetrack, there's a thing that happens, you know, they bring all the horses out, and, you know, first there's the thing you can watch them go be weighed, but then they bring all the horses out and everybody sees the horses, and then they get close to the gate and you can feel the energy and you can hear the murmur in the crowd of, and they pull them into the gate, and then the bell rings and they let them go, and then everything pitches up. But when they come around the last corner, all the noise goes crazy. And it's kind of the same thing in the auction.
Right.
Because everybody's like, oh, you know, and then somebody bids, and then it's like, oh, and then somebody bids against them, and
it's great when there's a bidding war.
It feeds off of itself, and I love, because you always have good auctioneers who keep bringing it back to the reason why we're doing this. How many kids do you want to help right now? You want to help this many? How many do you want to help? And they through the roof. It's good theater, and it really is a positive experience to see that amount of money. I always leave it going, see, people do care. People really
It does
care.
kind of reaffirm your faith in people's caring about autism, and even people that, as you said though, almost everybody is touched by it. If you were to ask a show of hands, everybody knows somebody, has a family member if they're not directly related.
Yeah. So it's truly an amazing event, and the fact that these three women are going to be honored, and so you guys get to speak, right? You're going to do a speech, which will be wonderful, and we will be there to support you.
I better start working on that.
Well, it's only a couple days away. I hope you get, like, you don't know what you're wearing, you don't know what you're saying yet. Nancy.
I know. Normally I'm so prepared in advance.
Listen, I saw Nancy get an award last year, and first of all, Nancy's a Barbie doll, and I've said this before, you can put her in pretty much anything and a pair of little high heels, and she looks like $1 million, right?
Well, thank you, my
friend. And she won this award last year, which was a very prestigious award.
The American Spirit Award.
From broadcasters. I mean, this is, you know...
The caucus is what it's called. It's the American Academy of Broadcasting.
A very prestigious group of broadcasters and, you know, people in television and film. And so Nancy looks like $1 million. I mean, she looked like she could be president, or certainly married to the president.
Well, thank you.
She looked incredible. And then, you know, she got up there and spoke and walked on her little tiny high heels. I would have fallen flat on my face, but got up and spoke and tore the room apart. Like, like there wasn't... You know, you had everybody laughing, and then you turned around and you had everybody crying. And people were like, man, that woman. So I don't worry about you at all and what you will say, because she's very good at that, you guys.
Well, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that.
Truly. Like, even those of us who have seen her speak, like, we were all like, you know, it was kind of amazing. So we will look forward to that, and we'll let you guys know all about that next week.
Okay.
But anyway.
So tell us about, we're almost out of time. Tell us about what next week's shows are.
Oh, see, and you know, I started
here, I have
to
it
say,
right here.
Do you? Because I
Yep, there you
buried,
go.
buried it in my stack of papers. Okay, so on Monday, your Rights with Bonnie Yates and Michelle Thorne, who is the founder of DAMES, which is Differently Abled Mothers Empowerment Society. How much do we want
That's
to talk
a
to her?
great title.
Yep. Then on Tuesday, we'll air one of our best of episodes. Then on Wednesday, we are going to have Evelyn Kung here with us answering your questions in real time. Then on Thursday, we have autism expert Katie Shepard, who's going to be with us answering your questions. And on Friday, our show next week, we'll have Vince Redmond. And then we're going to have Vanessa Leonard, who is an educational therapist, is going to be with us. So all of that and more, because, you know, sometimes things get moved around.
Right.
That will all be happening next week, but we want everybody to have a good weekend and make sure that you tune in on Sunday at 5 o'clock on our Facebook page. Autism Live will be on. We usually do a test real quick.
Right.
And then we come back on live and we pretty much carry you through until the last person on the red carpet, which is usually close to 7 o'clock.
Right.
So tune in, share with your friends. Something always happens.
Something fun will happen.
All right. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me.
And give yourselves a hug from me. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.